Hey everyone, if you don't know who I am, which most of you probably don't, then this video is for you. I'm going to talk about not only the origin of my cooking journey and the fact that you don't need to go to culinary school to be a good cook at home, but I'm also going to list some of my cooking inspirations at the end of this video. So to those of you who are interested in this type of video, sit back, relax, and enjoy. To start off on my cooking journey, the person who really got me started was my grandmother, specifically my maternal grandmother, Sharon. Throughout her entire life, she's always been a home cook, and she really first shared that love with me when we started cooking Thanksgiving dinner with her when I was around 11 years old or so. Originally, I did some basic stuff, like frying up sweet potatoes, which were rolled in sugar so it would caramelize. Once all the grandchildren started to get older and more competent with the cooking, she stepped back a little bit, and now we do a decent chunk of it. She still makes the mashed potatoes and cooks the turkey though. So she still does the main dishes. I still do the sweet potatoes by myself, but me and my 3 siblings do things like cutting up onions, celery, bread, as well as sweating the onions and celery in butter till translucent. I also assist in making Rice Krispie treats, melting the butter and marshmallows together. Even though I've been doing basic cooking things for nearly 2 decades now, has it really been that long? God, I feel old. But anyway, despite that, it's only been about the last 3 years that I've really tried to hone my skills in actual cooking techniques, and I found a true love for it. And the way I've honed those skills is learning it on the internet. So this is the part now where I'm going to talk about my evolution of cooking. When not cooking Thanksgiving dinner, when I was at home, I never really cooked a lot. The only things I would cook were pre-prepared things like boxed mac and cheese. I also did cook like basic pasta dishes with just like a jarred sauce and nothing else. Funnily enough, there was one technique that I did back then that I stopped and then started again once I knew that it was actually a good thing, and that was really salting your pasta water. Then I stopped because I was like, why am I making this with so much fucking salt? But now, I do that every time I cook pasta. But that's basically all I cooked through elementary, middle, and high school. My next evolution of cooking was when I was college age and started living with my grandparents. When I did go to college for half a semester, I started to really enjoy these pre-packaged pasta sides. And at first, I just made them like the directions said. Then one day I was just like, why do I have to limit myself to the basics? Why can't I add my own stuff like meats? I don't remember like a specific date or time that this happened, but on that day, something clicked in my brain. I thought about food completely differently. You could experiment with things like pre-packaged foods and even your own homemade Try adding a little spice to this, an extra herb to that, maybe substitute one liquid for another to make it a different experience. My mind was open, and that was when I really started to think more like a chef. At this point, I still was not making my own recipes, just modifying other ones. It wasn't until I moved into my grandparents' house the last time when I really got into the experimentation and making my own recipes. It didn't like happen right away when I moved in with them, but once I started watching cooking YouTubers by the likes of Andrew Ray on Babish Culinary Universe, Joshua Weissman, and Josh Scherer of The Mythical Kitchen, I collected all of that knowledge and started to experiment with my own recipes. And I also realized that people like Andrew Ray and Josh Scherer, that you didn't have to be culinarily trained to be an actual good cook. I've gained a pretty vast understanding of different techniques ever since moving in on my own and cooking a lot more often. But obviously, unless I have the job of a chef, I'm never going to call myself an actual chef. I am just a home cook who has a little more skill than the average person, I feel. And what's really funny is I actually have a record of when I created the first dish ever from total scratch, even if it was super basic, because I like to post what I do on Instagram, especially my cooking stuff. And if you want to check out my Instagram, it was exactly March 11th, 2021, over 2 years ago now, when I made a chicken dish with a whole bunch of herbs and spices that I thought might go well together. And man, delicioso. But it was also very simple. And nowadays, I still try to make as much from scratch as possible, even if it's just throwing random shit together and see what sticks. Obviously, I still get lazy and order food delivery or go out and eat or just throw together something that isn't homemade, like a jarred pasta sauce. But as much as possible, I really like making homemade sauces with things that I learned from YouTube, like the concept of emulsification, which is when 2 things, a liquid and a fat, are able to commingle together unlike they normally are. And at this point, I'm super good at making sure a sauce never breaks into its 2 components anymore. And most of these sauces are super quick and easy to whip up, so I might as well just use that instead of jarred sauce, but sometimes I'm super lazy. I use a jarred sauce. I always have some on hand. All in all, I've learned some great techniques that will last me a lifetime, but also realized that if you enjoy the taste of something, you don't need a recipe, and you don't need to be gatekept. If you're truly a good cook, you'll know how to experiment and make something taste good. But before I get to talking about the beginning of this channel, I'm gonna take a quick break and talk about my inspirations for cooking. We do have the previously mentioned Andrew Ray of Babish Culinary Universe, Joshua Weissman, and of course Josh Scherer of the Mythical Kitchen channel. But I've actually gained some new inspirations since 2 years ago, two of whom have actually become the most influential to me. Those two are Ethan Chbosky and Brian Lagerstrom. So if you want to learn some great cooking stuff, I recommend any of those people on YouTube. That actually brings me to the creation of this channel, Dylan's Dishes. One day I decided that after years of actually wanting to start a cooking channel but never doing it, I would finally try to make that a reality. So on April 5th, 2023, I created Dylan's Dishes. Honestly, the name of the channel didn't take that long to think of because I thought of it long ago, and it has a nice alliteration to it. About a week later, I uploaded my first video titled A Barbecue Chicken Recipe that you'll always come back to. As one commenter by the username Paco Gum said in my video on shrimp scampi, I'm glad you mentioned subscribing at the end, which you should do right now, please. The whole time I was under the impression that you had at least 100K subs because of your charisma and how well this was all put together. Great work. First of all, thank you for your kind words. And second of all, this comment really outlined one of my main philosophies when creating YouTube videos, and that is to always create videos like you have a larger audience already, even if you have a small subscriber count. This not only impresses new viewers, but it also subverts any expectations people have about creating videos when you're this small. As of writing this script, I only have 29 subscribers, and each of my videos has under 300 views. But if you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll know I try to make them as pleasant as possible to watch. I not only give you good information about the cooking process, but I try to make it look good too. And of course, sound good. I mean, like, this mic here is pretty damn crispy. One thing you should know about this channel is that even from the beginning, I planned on not making just regular old cooking videos the whole time, like this sit-down video. I want to be more personal than a lot of cooking YouTubers who just show you a recipe. I also plan on making challenge-themed videos and like behind-the-scenes / vlogs of my day if it has to do with food. But let me know what you guys would want to see down in the comments below. So, goodbye for now, and I'll be back soon enough with a new recipe video. Peace.